Hello, this is Denton Yoder, instructor for bse2304. In today's lab, what we're going to do is do a 3D print of a stream channel that we want. So first off, I'm going to find a drawing that has a surface that I want to use a copy of. And the process I'm going to do is quite destructive to the drawing. So I'm going to W-block out the surface I want to use into a separate file and then use that. So start with, I'm just going to hit W for W block, and I'm going to leave the base point 0, 0. I'm going to select just one of the contours of the surface to grab the surface, and it wants to know where to put it and what to name it. I'm going to name mine exploded surface. And I'm going to leave the units to be unitless. I'm doing OK. And there we go. It doesn't matter about exporting the map data. I don't need this drawing anymore. I'm just going to pull out of it. I'm going to open in my drawings folder or documents folder. Exploded surface. So now I have a surface, and it's just, well, it's a drawing with just this surface in it. Came back. Okay, so I just want a small section of this. I'm going to draw a rectangle around a small section that I want. And what I'm going to do is to shrink the surface down to a small area by doing a surface edit. Under definitions, there's a thing called boundaries, and I'm going to add a outer boundary non-destructively. Doing OK on that, and gone. Now, when I look at it in 3D, the surface automatically displays, I can erase my rectangle, I don't need it anymore. My surface displays as triangles, but it is all one object. If I list it, it is a surface. If I explode it one time and then I list it, it's now a block. If I explode it a second time, it's now individual 3D faces. Okay, the code I wrote, let's see if I can call it up here. Visual Lisp. Open up. Let's go to VTCAD Tools. I believe I called it Surface Solid. QRS. Spring Surface Solid. Okay, the top of the file is just a printout of what it's going to do and a brief explanation of a couple commands I'm using. The program is actually really short. That's the whole program. So it's going to ssget, which lets me select objects. It's going to count how many objects I've selected. It's going to set up I as a loop counter. It's going to turn off the snap modes and the command echo. It's going to prompt me for a lower boundary and an upper boundary. And then it's going to store the it's going to change the upper boundary to a distance of the upper boundary minus lower boundary. And it's going to ask me for an exaggeration factor. Once it does that, it's going to loop on each object I select, and it's going to draw a polyline on the floor at the minimum elevation. It's going to extrude it to my height, my range height, and then it's going to times my vertical exaggeration. Then it's going to slice it off And this whole mess is pulling out each triangle has 3 points, point 1, 2, and 3, and the car is the x coordinate, the catter is the y coordinate, and then I'm going to take the third coordinate, a DDR, which will be the z, and subtract the base elevation that I'm chopping off, multiply by the vertical exaggeration, and then add on the base height after it's done, so that the z is going to be based on the vertical exaggeration. And it's going to loop through all those objects. So, load surface solid. You actually have to spell it right. Okay. Now, when I do a surface solid, I'm sorry, I'm going to cancel out. I forgot to check my elevations. So in top view, well, if I go to front view, I can see the elevations of my site. If I set my UCS back to world and I identify a place, it will give me the elevation of that spot. So I got a Z of 56 here, a Z of 70 here, so a Z of 54 here. So I'm going to say 50 to 70 is my range. So I'm going to go back to a top view, which makes sure I'm in the world coordinate system again, and an isometric angle, and I'm ready to run my surface solid program. And I'm just going to grab a few of them, enter, and I'm going to say 50 to 70 is my range with a vertical exaggeration of 1. Now what it will do is it'll chunk through all of the triangles that I selected, making each one a solid, and after it makes it a solid, it will slice it at the surface location. I should have paid attention to how many I grabbed. Looks like it is, I think, done, because I'm able to move. Okay, so if I go to a front view, I can see I have solids, and if I set up some layers, I'm going to create a new layer, not from standard. I'm just going to new layer. I'm going to call it 3D base and 3D top. And the base green and the top cyan. And now I can grab my base objects and put them on layer 3D base, and I can grab my top objects and put them on layer 3D top. I can look at this. I'm going to go back to top view and then to an isometric and turn on some shading, and I can freeze that top portion. So that is 0 exaggeration factor. This actually is metric data, that's why it's so low and so small. But anyway, that was the process of doing the slope with 3D faces or 3D solids. Now, if we want, we can do it with vertical exaggeration. Actually, let me thaw both of those. I'm going to go to a front view again, and I can easily erase solids. without getting my surface. Top view, so I'm in world, isometric angle, turn off my shading, surface solid. I'm just going to grab a few again, and it was 50. Surface solid, don't know what I hit. A few more than that. 50, 70 with a 4:1 exaggeration. Now these are going to be a lot taller. It's still going to be two ranges. Done. Okay, front view. These are going to be the base, and this is going to be the top. So everything, I'm going to go to top view, then an isometric, freeze my top, turn on shading, and you can see a lot more exaggeration. Instead of a small exaggeration, you have a huge exaggeration, and that was a 4 times vertical exaggeration. I just did a small portion so it would run in a reasonable amount of time. You can run the whole site, but make sure you've clipped it down to something reasonable because it is a very time consuming. I did one yesterday that was 40,000 faces and it took 24 hours. So yeah, good luck with that. Take care. Bye-bye.